Galamsey, is Mahama going to succeed?
Yes, he will.
People think that Galamsey is worse now than it was under Nana.
It's premature. It is indeed. The fact is that.
You agree that it's worse?
The fact is that. No, it's not the worst. The fact is that Galamsey is an industry involving NDC people, NPP people, pastors are involved, lawyers are involved, ministers are involved.
And doctors.
Doctors are involved. Journalists are involved. One of President Akufo-Addo's ministers, a journalist before, his whole preoccupation throughout being a minister was mining.
Who is this?
I don't want to mention his names now. So, this is an industry where political communications cannot resolve.
This is
because the two political traditions are involved in it. You need an isolated, strong government will, policies framework to deal with it dispassionately. As we speak, the persons who are even more guiltier in this trade are police officers and military officers.
I see.
Who are deployed into these areas. Today, police officers are aiding casino and all of that in the mining constituencies where there is money. So, the president just came in, okay, barely 2.5 months. If you recall, even under President Mills, former appointees were asked to stay in government for 6 months. Even under President Mahama, when President Mills died, it took almost a year to set up the government. Under President Akufo-Addo, he also started very early, but he set up the government. Government had started business within 8 months and some 7 months.
This is 3FM.
President Mahama is 2 months, 2.5 months. He's been able to set up at least 70% of this government. Boards are not in place. Okay? Most of the institutions, enforcement institutions are not in place. He just made some changes recently within the Ghana Police Service and the Ghana Armed Forces, which will trickle down to the grassroots, where various commanders at various points would have to change, because these were the persons who were at post whilst crimes were ongoing. So if you want to fight that crime, you obviously will have to start by removing that person and bringing a neutral character there. So when you go to all the mining constituencies, the police commanders there are the ones aiding these crimes, because myself, I'm a political leader. I don't arrest a Galamsey. I don't have the locus. Nana B or Justin Kodia cannot arrest somebody who is in Galamsey. It obviously have to take a police officer or a joint team established for that purpose. Is the team in place? No, because the government is premature. The government have to take or bring out a strong measure. And so we assume that we are still within the period of transition. And I'll tell you, my senior brother Omani Boama, the Minister for Defense, who being passionate on the fight against illegal mining,
right,
decided to launch an operation. Immediately he took over as a defense minister. We're having a conversation about the feasibility of it. By the time and if you know how Omani does his things, he will plan behind and execute. So this was supposed to be a surprise operation to ransack persons who were even in the water bodies. By the time the officers get there, the miners had already gotten information.
A tip-off.
And they had fled. So who told them? The military high command. Okay? So this underscores the fact that if you want to use the same individuals to fight this, you fail.
This is
because it's about exchange of money at that level, at the grassroots.
Is that why the military command has been changed?
I'm just saying that. So that is why I believe that if you take over as president, you must get people who are aligned with your vision.
In your opinion, you think Dan Paré was incompetent?
No, I don't think so.
Why was he removed then?
I have my personal opinion as a student of security. I think that he had reshaped the image of police, be it as it may, with its internal issues. I think that he was one of the best IGPs we have had. I think he took us to 2020 election. He had just become IGP. 2024 election, there was no single casualty. There was adequate professionalism. That would have meant that there was a serious police force.
Right.
The most indisciplined force in the 2024 election was rather the military. Because President Akufo-Addo had made his ADC an army commander. Okay? And I was in the field, so I know this.
Okay.
You may have your own issues with him. He may have his leadership crisis. But I think that in security, there was some improvement. Robbery have reduced at some point. Okay? There was an effort to bring in discipline. And if you do operational work or you lead people and all of them love you, it means there's something fundamentally wrong.
This is 3FM.
You see, Blakk Rasta, we are losing a lot of good hands as far as police, military, operations are involved. If you take a hand like Upon Pepra, this is a very good hand, a grassroots breeded soldier who have attained that level of pedigree.
Right.
But you see,
This
because you
is
have
3FM.
politicians who are so desperate that they will necessarily misuse institutions of state for political reasons, that is what brought us this far. Okay? So in my opinion, I'm happy for the current IGP. Certainly one of the best hands we have in terms of police operations. I had my opinions that their disagreement, the two of them, was not good for the police as an institution. And of course, the fact that the president hires and fires. He wouldn't fire you because you've done something wrong,
This is
because you have failed
3FM.
or you have not failed. He will fire you because the power is for him to fire and hire.
Mametiwa was sent out by the president, and it looks like she has returned. What's your opinion?
Well, I also do think that she's due for retirement. She's not due for retirement. We shouldn't create a political situation where we hound out people post their retirement, particularly within structured services, if they are not politically exposed. I think that she's politically exposed because she was the head of Yoko. And so it was not a good thing to keep him within the police structure.
Right.
So once he had come close to governance, it was the best decision to keep him at the ministry around policy and governance, other than police as an institution.
Interesting. Now, there was also a time it was said, in fact, recently, that Dan Parry was doing a lot of lobbying around the presidency, which, I mean, you are very familiar with. I'm talking about the presidency. Did you have a hint of these
The
jugglings?
current Chief Justice is also lobbying. Everybody lobbies.
Wow.
When there's a change of government, everyone lobbies. It's not a crime. It's not wrong. Blakk Rasta have become a president. He's my brother. He knows me and I know him. It's a different matter. Blakk Rasta becomes a president. Someone else doesn't know him. It's important he extends a hand of familiarization. That is not a crime. And that is not wrong, in my opinion. And so everyone can lobby. And when a new president comes, because you were at the pleasure of the president today,
Right.
if President Mahama becomes a wicked man like the former president, which he will not become, and says, come and slap Blakk Rasta, I will slap you. I will not turn my face. I will slap you because the president says, go and do it. It's only few people who can muster the courage to tell the president that, Mr. President, what you want me to do is wrong. Few people. And so the president and the government would have used you in such a way that it displaces you. That is what I think most of our commanding officers went through. One person I wouldn't have slept if he wasn't removed was the army commander.
The ADC, the former ADC of Anadolu.
Yes. He is a bad guy.
Wow. What's his name
These are
again?
people who plotted. Onguna, bad guy, very bad army officer.
Wow.
He was responsible for the reckless deployment that happened, which almost erupted into a situation of a big conflict, because this is the first time we have seen the military getting so exposed to elections with arms. You've seen soldiers being attacked because the populace, if you gauge the mood of the country, you have to preserve the sanctity of the institution. You know? So these were people
This is
who
3
drew
FM.
the institution closer to politics. And that is why we are where we are. Look, President Mahama is a good man. He loves Ghanaians, and I know that. He's a man who, if he had his way, let everyone be happy. Let's sit on a table and smile. But Ghanaians don't think like that. Did you ever imagine that the NPP will gain a voice after 2.5 months, and their objective is to sink the current government? 2.5 months.
Interesting.
After all the ills, the criminalities, the rascalities, all the things we have not seen before, 2 months, they want to equalize, to say, let us. Their conscience is not telling them that Blakk Rasta can fare for himself. But the children in Bunkubu
This is
Yodo,
3
the
FM.
children in Wale Wale, the children in Nyankanduri, without government, who will take care of these children? And today, if the government becomes worse, when you are going to buy petrol, they will not say that because you are Blakk Rasta, African's finest, take petrol for free. They wouldn't ask your political affiliation.
I'm going to open the phone lines.
Yes.
So that people can also share their views. There's somebody here who says, oh, your guest is referring to Kojo Ponkroma. Is it true? Did you?
I didn't mention anybody's name.
Okay, but were you referring to him?
I know a minister who was a journalist. He was into Galamsey. Most of President Akufo-Addo's ministers were into mining.
Was Ponkroma into mining?
I will mention it now. When they will get there, we'll cross. I'm saying that the game of arresting people who have done the wrong things is yet to happen, including ministers who were into money laundering. Not only visa racketeering, money laundering.
Wow.
Ministers of President Akufo-Addo. Capital flight, they aided capital flight. How money, dollars moved out of this country. You were crying that the economy was crashing.
Yes, right.
But they were moving money out of this country.
Oh, there were some
Dollars.
members who were doing
Yes,
that.
yes.
In the
President
government.
Akufo-Addo's ministers.
Wow.
So we'll get to all of these. That's why when I see them making noise about, let me tell you, they'll be arrested. They will be arrested. And I'm happy that petitions are coming up to clean the judiciary. Once the judiciary is clean, we are good to go.
So the CJ will go.
Nothing will stop her from going. Because today, as of yesterday, I saw, I was thinking some neutrals like yourselves will be advocating and finding answers. I didn't see any neutral.
That's right.
I saw MPP actors. So is a CJ a politician? As it stands, in terms of public opinion, she's aligned to the MPP because of the MPP's appetite to defend her. This is what it is.
3 FM.
The president is mandated to receive petitions and review those petitions, forward same to Council of State and consult. At that level, that body would have been constituted before a matter starts. So the president notified the country that I have received 3 separate petitions. People are seeking for the removal of the Chief Justice. Please be notified that I'm forwarding same to Council of State to review. What is the rush? So the communication has not yet been received by the Council of State, but the Chief Justice is in a hurry to demand who wrote the petition about them. Has they referred anything to the Chief Justice? There was no conversation. The law didn't say that when the president received the petition, he should read it out. The president said, I have received petitions from the people of Ghana to remove the Chief Justice in accordance with the dictates of the law. I am forwarding same
This
to
is
Council of State.
3FM.
What if tomorrow Council of State comes out to say, oh, we have actually reviewed the petitions and they are bogus and unmeritorious, as in the case of their own attempt to remove at the time Dampare, yes, and petitions and all of that. And they said they didn't find any. No, it was not. I think it was special prosecutor, and they wrote it, and somebody put Matiamidu's name. You remember?
Yes, I do.
And they later on came to deny and all of that. So these petitions can become mute even at the level of the president engaging with the Council of State.
Why